Vegas Fame Index started on a pub bench, which is probably like a lot of other local indie bands have done over the last 30 years. My friend, Rob, was sat opposite me on this pub bench outside the Marlborough. Must have been middle of summer because it was a hot baking day. And he said to me, "Why don't you write the songs? Why don't you be in your own band?" And it had never occurred to me to write my own songs. The really, really early stuff was very heavily influenced by what I was listening to at the time. Arctic Monkeys were huge. There was a glut of British guitar music in the chart. I knew everybody who was going to be in the Vegas Fame Index before I asked them to join. I was working with Malcolm and I knew he played the guitar and he didn't even play the bass. It was just that he looked good in jeans. So he was in. Kev, I'd seen play before in the car park of the Royal Mail Distribution Centre on a very cold and wet New Year's Day. He'd said yes, the band was already formed. That was it. We then had a lot of work to do to get us up to the level that I'd had in my head of what I wanted a band to look and sound like. But almost at the time I was so keen and so eager to put something together that we got it done really quickly. A really good band is a benign dictatorship, because I think if you have got so many strong opinions about how the music should be played, what you guys should look like, how the music should sound, what the lyrics should say, then I don't think your band's ever going to work. The local scene in Norwich was brilliant. Okay, and I think a local scene, and I don't know whether it's reflective of Norwich or any big town or city in this country, but where British music was then, 2004 and 2005, was a really, really good place. There were some really good indie bands, Deltaville, Lot 44, we used to play on the bill with all the time because their music and our music kind of suited quite well. But there were some times where we didn't play very well, but the moments when we did, and there's one at the Arts Centre around about the time of our first EP release, we were playing With Any Luck, and we just turned around during the musical break, and I wasn't having to do any lyrics, and we just looked at each other and we were thinking, this is good, how good is this? Probably about, I don't know, no more than about 100 people in there watching, and they were probably, half of them were to see the other bands, but we were playing well and it sounded good, and it was the music that we wanted to play, and we were actually pulling it off and getting the album out, finally, after all that time, and some blood, sweat and small amount of tears as well. That was a real achievement, and those are things that people can't ever take away. If I'm playing in a pub rock covers band in 10 years' time because that's the only gig I can get, no one can turn around to me and say, well, you never gave it a go. Where was your tiny footnote on the enormous tome that is independent live music? And I can say, well, it's that album I released through NR1 Records, co-written and entirely self-produced by myself and my bandmates. We did that, and that is fantastic. I've still got about 500 copies in my loft, but the other 500, I don't know where they are. Somebody must have them.